The hammer has officially been dropped on the Michigan Wolverines for their sign stealing scandal. What to expect out of this? Number one, a postseason ban. Number two, bowl ban. And number three, vacated wins. No, I'm actually just joking with you guys. It was a lot less than that. We will get to it and more on the other side. All right, so after trolling you guys there in the open, let's lock it in. Let's get serious. As reported by Ross Dellinger, here are the NCAA penalties for Michigan. Number one, 4 years probation period, a $50,000 fine plus 10% of all the football team's budget, a fine equivalent to the cost of 10% of all football scholarships, another fine equivalent to loss of 2 postseason games. So basically, if they go play in the Fiesta Bowl is going to compensate both teams, and they will not receive that compensation for the next 2 postseason games for them. 25% reduction in football visits, and a 14-week prohibition on recruiting comms. Basically, all this adds up to is about a $20 million fine that they will have to pay. Plus, Sharon Moore will receive an additional 1-game suspension in 2026, and along with the weeks 3 and 4 suspension. Now, really, this is probably the lightest penalty they could have got. They could have got, like I said in the opening, they could have had a postseason ban. They could have had a bowl ban. They could have had vacated wins. They could have had a lot more that was dropped on them. But in reality, in the situation, if you are not all caught up on every little detail, basically, here's what you need to know is that Connor Stalions went to other teams' games and scouted on the sideline. That was what was wrong about it. That's why they are being punished. That's why they were heavily scrutinized. It really wasn't for anything else, pretty much, except for the fact that Connor Stalions went and did this, and that coaching staff at the time was okay with it. That was in 2021 and 2022. So basically, they did in-person scouting on the sidelines of other teams' games, impersonating other coaches, which is illegal. And they rightfully were punished for that. Sharon Moore was the one who pretty much okayed that. And he is now going to be banned for 3 games, 1 in 2026 and 2 in this upcoming year. I would like to remind all the Ohio State fans and the Michigan State fans, and really anyone who thought that they should have had the world come down on them, this was not an allegation like Joe Paterno at PSU or anything of the like. It was one staffer that got okayed by the offensive coordinator to go do the stuff, which is wrong. I've said it. It is wrong for them to have done that, and they are paying for that, first of all, with all the publicity and the scrutinization of it, plus everything that happened here, the $20 million fine, plus Sharon Moore is serving basically his jail sentence time. And I would like to remind everyone as well that all of these departments have sign stealing people that are people that pick up on signs of the other team and relay that over to help better advantage his or her team. Every single team in the country has someone that does this to pick up on patterns and signs and stuff like that. The way that Michigan did it, they went too far to do it, and that's why they're being punished. But in reality, every single team has someone to do this. And I think this is what everyone in the country is missing about this situation, is that every single FBS team has someone on their coaching staff or people, plural, that are their only job is to do this sort of thing, to steal signs from other teams, to look for patterns in other teams' play calling, to look and see if they can gain an advantage over the opponent, and that's perfectly legal. Just the way Michigan did it was a little bit too far. I liken this to a couple years back, or even it was last year, when Tennessee got hit with some recruiting violations because they were paying players under the bus or whatever. Everyone is doing that. They were just the ones that got caught. Now, I'm not really comparing them one to one, but it's a like situation, in my opinion, where Michigan, yes, they did go too far. Just like Tennessee, they went a little bit too far, but everyone's doing it. Now, Michigan, yes, they went too far. They had staffers on the sideline. I'm not saying that other teams have staffers on the sideline, but I guess my overall point is that everyone seems to be missing the big picture here. everyone has staffers that do this sort of thing. It just really makes it ironic that you have Ohio State guys, really anyone across the country who are fans of their respective teams, and they're all clowning on Michigan because of this sort of thing. And again, for about the sixth or seventh time in this video, I am saying that Michigan did something wrong and they are now paying for it. And Michigan went too far. But every other team is trying to gain an advantage in some sort of stealing sign sort of thing, or looking for ticks, or looking for anything that can help their team gain a better advantage on the play. Michigan just went too far in that respect. For people that wanted them to, you know, take away their national title, first of all, they weren't even sign stealing in 2023. And if anyone that is still running the same playbook that they played back in 2021 when they were sign stealing, well, that's on really them for not changing anything. That's what teams really look for. Other teams, not just Michigan, teams look for repeated patterns in playbooks, in formations, in play styles. I'm not a football guru. I'm not a guy who's coached at a high level, but I at least know that you're supposed to be looking for these ticks, these little things that can gain you an advantage in a game. Again, Michigan went too far. Other teams have not, which is why only Michigan's been punished, because obviously Michigan went too far. I think that's about the 10th time I've said that in today's video. Now, before I get out of here, I want to say I want to toot my own horn a little bit here. Follow me on X if you haven't already, but the tweet you can see on the screen, I wrote that June the 9th, where I thought that really nothing was going to happen of this situation, and nothing happened anyway. So thanks so much for watching this video. I wanted to make it short and sweet, just my instant reaction to this. It was a bit of a rambling video, a bit of an impromptu video as well, but just content out there for you guys. So thank you so much for watching. I have put out a ton of content as of late. I'm trying to really put out as much before the season starts. So I really encourage you, whether you liked this video, disliked the video, or you just didn't like anything about it, just go and watch some of my other videos, see if your mind has changed about that. I put out my 12-team playoff prediction. I put out my AP poll reaction video, and I've been doing a ton of season previews for individual teams, including these Wolverines. I have one out for them as well. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.